Kindly resume your seats. Your Excellencies, Honorable Members of Parliament, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ninth Biennial General Meeting of the African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption. Again, as I indicated earlier, we apologize sincerely for the late start, and we are hoping that we would make some good progress as the day continues. We have attending more than delegates from more than 14 African parliaments who are representing themselves here and who would be part of the 3-day event. We'll start by me calling the chairperson of the Ghana chapter of the African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption, the Honorable Emmanuel Bejira, the Member of Parliament for Ho West for Ghana, to give us the welcome remarks. Honorable.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Right Honorable Speaker, and the President of APNAC, Speaker of the National Assembly of Benin, Right Honorable Dr. Louis Beho Vlavonu, the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament represented by the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Bernard Ahiafo, the representatives of both Majority Leader and Minority Leader, other leadership of Parliament represented here, honorable members of African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption from across Africa, honorable members of Parliament of Ghana, members of the Diplomatic Corps, heads of key accountability institutions represented here, representatives of our strategic partners, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with immense pleasure that I extend a warm welcome to all of you to this biennial general meeting of the African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption, APNAC. I bring my sincerest greetings to our esteemed colleague, honorable members, and to all partners who continue to work with us on this important journey towards building a transparent, accountable, and corruption-free Africa. At the outset, I wish to express my profound appreciation and sincere gratitude to the Speaker of Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, the Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagwin, for his gracious approving the request for the Parliament of Ghana to host the 9th Biennial General Meeting here in Accra. His readiness to do so, particularly at such a short notice, is a clear testament to his unwavering commitment to regional cooperation, parliamentary diplomacy, and advancement of our shared objectives. Distinguished participants and guests, today's gathering should not be regarded as merely one of the routine meetings of our network, but rather as a significant occasion for us to reflect upon, renew, and reaffirm our commitment to the noble ideas that inspired the establishment of this network. For over 2 decades, APNAC has served as a vital platform through which parliamentarians across the continent collaborate, exchange practices, and strengthen legislative oversight in the collective fight against corruption. Our theme for this meeting, Repositioning APNAC, in the fight against corruption, overcoming current and emerging challenges, is both timely and compelling. The fight against corruption continues to evolve and has become increasingly complex. With the advent of new technologies and emerging global dynamics, it is therefore imperative for us, as parliamentarians and representatives of the people, to evolve correspondingly. Repositioning APNAC requires that we reassess our strategies, strengthen our institutional frameworks, and build more robust synergies with key stakeholders, including civil society, the private sector, the media, and our development partners. It also calls for the greater investment in capacity building, initiatives to effectively address dynamic and complex manifestations of corruption, and such as cybercrime, illicit financial flows, exacerbating by technological advancement. Above all, it means ensuring that our efforts resonate meaningfully with the aspiration and expectation of the citizens we are privileged to serve. Distinguished participants, there is no doubt that our network is presently confronted with a number of challenges. Prominently among this is our limited capacity to keep pace with the ever-evolving nature and sophistication of corruption, as previously highlighted, as well as the inadequate resources required to effectively implement our programs and activities. As we engage in our deliberation over the next 2 days, I urge us all to identify pragmatic and sustainable measures to revitalize our network and strengthen collaboration among national chapters so that APNAC may continue to play the relevant and impactful role in the continental fight against corruption. Allow me to take this opportunity to acknowledge and commend the local planning committee for your tireless effort in making the necessary arrangements for the success of this meeting. To our partners, your continual collaboration is an important reminder that the fight against corruption cannot be waged by parliamentarians alone. It is indeed a shared responsibility that demands collective courage, commitment, and integrity. As I conclude, Mr. Chair, I reaffirm the commitment of the national chapter, Ghana National Chapter, to the ideals of APNAC, good governance, accountability, and integrity. Together, we can overcome the challenges that confront us and reposition APNAC as a leading and respected voice in Africa's fight against corruption. Once again, I warmly welcome you to this biennial general meeting. May our deliberations be fruitful and inspiring, and may they bring us closer to Africa as well as what we all envision. And Africa with integrity is upheld and corruption find no refuge in our lands. I thank you for your kind attention and God bless you. Accra, you are welcome. Akwaba.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chairperson of the Ghana chapter of APNAC. Sharing the high table with the Chairperson of APNAC to his immediate right will be the Honorable John Darkon, who's the Member of Parliament for the Swami constituency, Ghana. Perhaps we want to acknowledge the members on the high table with a clap. To the very far end of the high table is the clerk to the Ghana's Parliament, Mr. Ebenezer Ahoma Jetro. Sitting to the left of Mr. Jetro is the Majority Chief Whip, the Honorable Roxanne Eche Dafemepo. I would also introduce on the high table the first Deputy Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana, Honorable Bernard Ahiafo. And last and definitely not the least, I introduce to you the current Africa President, the Right Honorable Louis Vlavono. Right Honorable, you're welcome. Thank you very much. We'll now take remarks from the Honorable John Darko, representing the Minority Leader or the Minority Caucus of Ghana's Parliament. Honorable Darko.
Yeah, good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. So I'm delivering this speech for and on behalf of the leader of the Minority Caucus, the Honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin. Very Honorable Speaker, the President of APNAC, distinguished members of APNAC Board, Honorable members of Parliament from across the continent, colleagues, members of Parliament, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you once again. We are here to renew our pledge to integrity, transparency, and accountability, to strengthen the institutions of governance, and to serve Africa with courage, dedication, and a love for the principles of justice. Many years ago, our forebears lit the flame of self-determination and liberty across Africa. That flame still burns today, carried forward by the leaders and citizens who believe that the rule of law, democratic governance, and ethical public service can transform our nations. Time and again, our people have shown that integrity and accountability are non-negotiable. Today, we are heirs of that legacy, entrusted with the sacred duty to uphold it. Fighting corruption is a privilege and also a responsibility. If governments provide the machinery of state, then we, as parliamentarians and members of APNAC, must serve as the conscience of our nations. We must fight corruption because it steals from the poor, erodes public trust, and undermines the very foundation of our society. To carry out this mission, we must first hold ourselves to the standards we expect from others. Integrity must guide every decision, standards, every action and every word. We must be fearless in our oversight, diligent in our scrutiny of public funds, and firm in our promise to transparency. By doing so, we demonstrate that the fight against corruption begins with our own selves. APNAC's credibility, and indeed the credibility of our parliamentarians, depend on our willingness to act ethically, consistently. Our work also demands unity of purpose. We must come from different nations, cultures, and political traditions. Yet we share a common mission, which is to protect the public purse, strengthen institutions, and safeguard the trust of our citizens. When we speak and act as one, we amplify the voice of millions across Africa who demand accountability. We stand united against corruption and let corruption find no refuge amongst us. Loyalty is another cornerstone of our duty. Our loyalty must be to the people we serve, to the principles of good governance, and to the rule of law. It is loyalty that compels us to speak truth to power, even when inconvenienced, to defend whistleblowers who risk everything to reveal wrongdoing, and to propose solutions that strengthen institutions rather than weaken them for personal or political gain. Leadership, by example, is indispensable. Our leadership is measured by the ethics we uphold, the diligence we demonstrate, and the courage we show in challenging entrenched interests. when we hold governments accountable for mismanagement, when we champion reforms to prevent corruption, we exercise leadership that strengthens our democracies. Engagement with our citizens who bear the cost of corruption every day. Engagement with our colleagues, even across political divides. And engagement with civil society, the media, and the judiciary. Through constant, open, and sincere engagement, we connect the corridors of Parliament to the villages, towns, and the oversight we provide. These are grounded in the realities of the people we serve. Above all, our work must be guided by a sense of continental responsibility. Every decision, every stance we take should answer one fundamental question. Does this serve Africa? Does it protect the public trust? Does it strengthen our institutions and secure a future for the next generation? APNAC's mission is about leaving behind a continent where integrity, justice, and accountability are the norm and not the exception. Colleagues, the fight against corruption is not easy. There will be setbacks, for sure. There will be frustrations and moments when progress seems slow. But we must remember that the work we do today protects the future of our nations. We serve as the eyes, the ears, and the voice of millions who demand honesty in public service. Through our discipline, unity, loyalty, leadership, engagement, and sense of responsibility, we can transform APNAC from a network of committed parliamentarians into a continent-wide force that ensures accountability, safeguards public resources, and restores hope to our people. As we convene for this biennial General Assembly, I urge each one of us to reflect on why we chose this path of service. Let us renew our dedication to the mission of APNAC, to be relentless in our oversight, fearless in our advocacy, resolute in our ethics, and bold in pursuing justice. Together, we will strengthen Africa's democratic institutions, protect the vulnerable, and build a legacy of accountability that the future generation will honor. Our journey will not be without challenges, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm confident that if we stay true to our principles, APNAC will inspire hope, integrity, and courage across the continent. Together, let us prove that leadership committed to transparency and justice can indeed change the destiny of our continent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the Honorable John Darko, for delivering the speech for and on behalf of the Minority Leader Osahin Afenyo-Marking. We'll now listen to the remarks by the Majority Chief Whip, Honorable Roxanne Dafiamekpo, for and on behalf of the Majority Leader. Honorable.
Let me continue on the existing protocol and proceed to give my remarks for and on behalf of the Majority Leader, who unavoidably has to be at Cabinet today, this morning. the First Deputy Speaker, representing the Speaker, the Right Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly of Benin, as well as the President of APNAC, respected APNAC board members, members from parliaments across Africa, heads of constitutional bodies here invited, distinguished representatives from our civil society, academia, and the media, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's both a privilege and a profound responsibility to address this august gathering on a theme that strikes at the very heart of our democratic and developmental aspirations. And this theme is repositioning APNAC in the fight against corruption, overcoming current and emerging challenges. Miawezo, Akwaba, you are welcome. Your presence here in Accra is a powerful testament to our shared commitments and the transnational nature of the battle that we wage. Corruption is not a localized infection. It's a global pandemic that stifles growth, erodes public trust, and above all, it deepens poverty. Our solidarity and collective resolve, therefore, are not matters of choice, but of necessity. In Ghana, the current National Democratic Congress government, ably led by His Excellency the President John Dramani Mahama, assumed office with a very clear mandate from the people of Ghana, and that is to restore hope, accelerate development, and uphold integrity in public life. We recognize that the fight against corruption is not a secondary concern in governance, but the very foundation upon which our lasting progress is built. Mr. President, as a country, our approach has been comprehensive. We focus on strengthening institutions, enhancing transparency and accountability, and above all, to ensure sanctity of institutional operations. May I cite a couple of examples to buttress this point? As a nation, we have established the office of the Special Prosecutor with a clear mandate to prosecute, to investigate and prosecute corruption and corruption-related matters. That is a compartmentalized mandate taken away, as it were, from the bureaucratic nature of the Office of the Attorney General to a specialized institution to have a clear focus and attention on corruption and corruption-related matters. There cannot be any more demonstration of a commitment to fighting corruption other than this. Second, we have also enhanced the legal institutional framework by prioritizing the adequate resourcing and operational independence of key anti-corruption institutions such as the YOCO, FIC, and other such institutions. They have been significantly strengthened logistically and technically to investigate and prosecute corruption-related offenses without fear or favor. 3, sometime in 2016, as a country, we promulgated and implemented the Public Financial Management Act. This landmark legislation has fundamentally transformed our approach to managing the public purse. It has enhanced fiscal discipline, improved budget transparency, and introduced stricter controls in public expenditure, making it increasingly difficult for public funds to be misappropriated. But the work continues. We are under no illusion that the battle is won. But we are unwavering in our commitment to keep fighting. Now, may we take a look at the collective front on the African continent. Mr. President, colleagues, as parliamentarians, we are the people's elected representatives and the primary holders of the executive to account. Our role, therefore, in this fight remains vital. Again, allow me to outline measures we can take to strengthen our collective front. 1. Legislative oversight. This term may appear to have been overused, but we must move beyond ceremonial approvals of budgets. We need effective, technically empowered parliamentary committees that can dissect government expenditure, scrutinize public contracts, and demand answers from ministers and public officials. 2. Bipartisan consensus building. What this means is that corruptions know no political party. Therefore, APNAC chapters from across the continent must serve as platforms for building cross-party consensus on critical anti-corruption legislation and oversight programs and activities. We must depoliticize the fight against corruption and present a united parliamentary front in this agenda. 3. As the people's elected representatives, we must lead by example. This means that we must subject ourselves to the highest standards of integrity. This includes publicly declaring our assets, avoiding conflict of interest situations, and ensuring that our conduct, both in and out of the chamber, like we say of Caesar's wife, beyond reproach. Now, when we gather and engage in these nice speech-giving activities, we need to have a call to action program. So, Mr. President, our governments cannot do this alone. Repositioning APNAC means forging stronger, more strategic alliances. I therefore call upon you to initiate the following. 1. That individual members of parliament are the first line of defense. And that being the case, we must become corruption watchdogs in our respective constituencies and countries. We must educate our constituents on their rights and the mechanisms for reporting corruption and corruption-related activities. As MPs, we must continue to use our parliamentary oversight tools such as questions and motions and statements and half-hour motions to keep the executive in check. 2. Civil society and academia cannot be left unattached. In doing this, we must therefore carry them along. We must invoke the conscience of our nation and the source of our intellectual armory. And these are reposed in the men in academia and in civil society mainly. Therefore, as part of the call to action, we must continue our vigilance in monitoring of government projects and public expenditure. Men in academia and civil society must provide us, as elected representatives of the people, evidence-based research that informs better policy and evidence-based legislation across national assemblies and parliaments on the continent. your criticisms and critical articles published in academic journals will become a vital tool of reference, but they will not be meant to attack, but to become a necessary contribution to our national development toolkit from which policies and programs can be fashioned to fight corruption. 3, the media, by all means, will be the channel through which achievements in this regard will be communicated. Therefore, as part of the call to action, we encourage the Fourth Estate, as they are called, to become a crucial pillar of our democracy and our fight and drive to ensure that anti-corruption activities become pervasive in our public space. We therefore urge you to pursue investigative journalism with rigor and responsibility. You must shine a searchlight into the dark corners where corruption thrives. Hold us accountable, but do so with accuracy and a commitment to public interest and not sensationalism. Mr. President, may I conclude my remarks by focusing on repositioning of APNAC, which repositioning requires a renewed sense of purpose, fortified alliances, and courageous action across the globe. These evolving threats, Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, from cybercrime, for instance, to the advanced laundering of illicit funds, demand that we act smarter, we act more technologically adept, and more united than the forces that confront us. Let this 9th General Meeting be remembered, not just for the quality of our discourse and speeches, but for the concrete resolutions that we pass and the renewed vigor with which we return to our respective nations to act with vim. The people of Ghana and Africa are watching. They deserve a future free from the shackles of corruption, a future of opportunity, dignity, and justice. Let us, as their elected representatives, be the architects of that future. Mr. President, I thank you for the opportunity and for your attention. May God bless APNAC, may God bless our respective nations, and may God bless the continent of Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Majority Leader, Honorable Majority Chief Whip, representing the Majority Leader. We have delegates who are from Ghana, from Benin, from Nigeria, from Tanzania, Burundi, Kenya, the Gambia, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Guinea Republic, Cameroon, Eswatini, and the Ivory Coast. You are all welcome to the General Meeting. We'll now take remarks by the Clerk to Parliament, Mr. Ahuma Jetro, who ought to have delivered his remarks earlier, but Mr. Jetro, you still have to deliver the remarks. Please proceed to deliver your remarks. Clerk to Parliament, Mr. Ebenezer Ahuma Jetro. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and good morning to all of us. I said good morning to all of us. The rains has brought blessings. We'll take it in that light. President of APNAC and Speaker of the National Assembly of Benin, Honorable First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Majority Chief Whip, Honorable John Daku representing the Minority Leader, Honorable members of the African Parliamentary Network Against Corruption from across Africa, my Lord Justice Atuguba, Commissioner of Human Rights and Administrative Justice, the Special Prosecutor, Commissioner of the Public Service Commission, other eminent persons here gathered, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure and honor that I welcome you to the Ninth Biennial General Meeting of the African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption in Accra. We are deeply honored that Ghana has once again been accorded the privilege of hosting this significant continental gathering of legislators and partners committed to strengthening integrity, transparency, and accountability across the continent. This meeting is both timely and relevant as it comes at a time when the global and regional governance landscape is confronted with both persistent and emerging corruption risk that threaten development gains, weaken public trust in leaders, especially legislators, and erodes institutional credibility. As you are all aware, corruption drains public resources, undermines the rule of law, and weakens citizens' faith in democracy. It robs society of schools, hospitals, and other social services, discourages foreign investment, and strips nations of their natural wealth, among others. Most alarmingly, recent surveys reveal a troubling trend. A growing number of Africa's youth are losing faith in democratic governance. Many believe that corruption is the single most formidable obstacle to their ability to succeed. And some even consider military rule a viable alternative. Regrettably, though, this sobering reality compels us as parliamentarians, leaders, and heads of public institutions to act with renewed urgency and conviction. As clerk to the Parliament of Ghana, I'm well aware that the fight against corruption cannot be won by law enforcement and anti-corruption agencies alone. Parliaments occupy a unique and strategic position in this fight. Through their legislative oversight and representative functions, parliaments can give meaning and substance to the principles of transparency, accountability, and good governance. Legislators pass laws that set the standards for ethical conduct, approve budgets that determine national priorities, and exercise oversight to ensure that public resources are used prudently and for their intended purposes. Legislators represent the voices, hopes, and frustrations of the people. This is why the network APNAC is so vital. In pursuit of this noble mandate of legislators, there is therefore the compelling need to strengthen the existing synergies with key accountability institutions, civil society bodies, academia, functionaries of private sector, amongst others, in this global fight. I dare say that the time has come, probably, for states, governments, and parliaments to properly examine the criteria for procuring services of various functionaries to occupy offices. In this call, I reflect deeply over the training all of us have had in our institutions of higher learning, and what resonates forcefully with me at this material moment is the University of Ghana motto: integrity proceedamus. Let integrity proceed in all that we do. Yes, integrity is not a currency that places food on the table, but is the single most important essential currency with which we procure public trust. And public trust is essential in the discharge of our respective mandate. When we lose public trust, we have lost it all. And so this should resonate forcefully with us as we reflect over these 2 days at this workshop. This Biennial General Meeting offers us a unique opportunity not only to reflect on APNAC's journey so far, but also to reimagine its future. It invites us to assess what has worked, confront the challenges that persist, and chart a forward-looking path that will make APNAC more strategic and resilient. The theme for this meeting, Repositioning APNAC in the fight against corruption, overcoming current and emerging challenges, captures precisely the spirit of renewal and reinvigoration. As host, we pledge our full support to APNAC and to all participants throughout this meeting. We are confident that our deliberations, exchanges, and resolutions will breathe new energy into APNAC's mission and strengthen parliamentary cooperation across Africa in the fight against corruption. Before I conclude, allow me to express sincere appreciation to Right Honorable Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana for his visionary leadership and unwavering support to APNAC and to the cause of integrity in public life. I also commend the Planning Committee, the APNAC Secretariat, and the APNAC Ghana chapter for their tireless efforts in organizing this gathering. May this meeting secure for us all and posterity the blessings of liberty, equality of opportunity, and prosperity for all of us. I thank you.
Thank you, Clerk to Parliament. Thank you very much, Clerk to Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, before we take a goodwill message from the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, I'd like to acknowledge persons who have joined to support the network. We have officers from the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice here present, officers from the Economic and Organized Crime Office, Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice. We have representatives of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, of the National Intelligence Bureau, of the Public Service Commission, of the head of the Local Government Service, the head of the Civil Service. We also have NGOs who are joining to support this program. We have the Transparency International Ghana, Center for Democratic Development Ghana, and the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs, ASEPA. But Right Honorable Speaker, I would also want to introduce especially the Commissioner for the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Dr. Joseph Whittle. Shall we acknowledge him, please? We also acknowledge the presence of the Special Prosecutor, Mr. Kisi Ejabeng. You're welcome. And we also acknowledge the presence of the member of the Public Service Commission of Ghana, Mr. Michael Edu Dakon. You're also very much welcome. So, on behalf of all those who are supporting and collaborating, I would like to call Dr. Joseph Whittle to give a goodwill message from the partners who are supporting the network. Dr. Whittle, you're welcome.
President of APNAC, the Right Honorable Speaker of the Republic of Benin, members of the High Table, permit me to stand on all existing protocols. On behalf of all key accountability institutions and the civil society members present who work very closely with APNAC, it is a great pleasure and honor for the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, on your behalf, to join the African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption, APNAC, in this important biennial general meeting and conference here in Accra. Conferences, wherever they are held, serve, among other things, as veritable ground for information sharing and expertise sharing. Enhance synergies among actors through effective collaboration and coordination, and I have no doubt that this biennial meeting aligns with these objectives. Mr. President, this conference could not have come at a more opportune time. The theme, Repositioning African Parliamentarians Network in the Fight Against Corruption, Overcoming Current and Emerging Challenges, aptly reflects the critical role of parliaments in advancing the continent's governance and anti-corruption agenda. Indeed, sustainable development cannot be achieved without strong, transparent, and accountable institutions tailored at fighting corruption. Nobody here, I dare say, is a stranger to the corrosive effects of corruption on our societies, as had been demonstrated by earlier speakers. Corruption is not just an ethical issue, it is a development concern which poses a grave danger to the well-being of the people of Africa. Corruption diverts scarce resources from basic human needs and destroys confidence in the integrity of our institutions, as ably justified by the Clerk to Parliament, the last speaker. It robs our people of opportunities, erodes public trust, weakens institutions, and stalls the dreams of an entire continent. As you are all aware, the African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption emerged out of a workshop in Kampala sometime in February 1999, following the realization of the value of African parliamentarians coming together to share information, experiences, and lessons in strengthening parliaments in the fight against corruption. Mr. President, APNAC had 4 main objectives, which are: 1, to build commitment and the capacity of parliaments to exercise their oversight role, especially in relation to financial matters; 2, to share information on best practices; 3, to undertake projects to control corruption; and 4, lastly, to cooperate with organizations in civil society with shared objectives. Mr. President, as a beneficiary of the work of APNAC, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and key accountability institutions in Ghana, I can say without equivocation that APNAC has not only lived up to its objectives, but walked the talk despite the challenges confronting it. I am happy that this conference is tailored at finding workable solutions to these challenges. Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, over the years, APNAC has played a pivotal role in Ghana's anti-corruption efforts. The network was instrumental in shaping the formulation and implementation of the National Anti-Corruption Action Plan, NACAP, Ghana's first comprehensive national framework to combat corruption. APNAC also contributed significantly to the establishment of the Key Accountability Institutions Forum, KAI, which continues to serve as a vital platform for collaboration among key state actors, including the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, the Parliament of Ghana, the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the Ghana Police Service, the Financial Intelligence Center, the Ghana Audit Service, the National Intelligence Bureau, the Internal Audit Agency, and the Narcotics Control Commission, who are all in this conference. Notably, Parliament's representation on the Key Accountability Institutions Forum is through a member of APNAC, and I'm proud to say that the voice of your representative has shaped our key accountability institutions and put it in a better position to inject the spirit of comradeship among our anti-corruption efforts. Recently, the Speaker, the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament of Ghana, has led by example by giving a platform to the key accountability institutions to meet and deliberate. Mr. President, I am informed that over the years, APNAC has chalked quite a number of successes, including the following: information sharing through the use of your website, which has enabled members to share information on best practices; organization of both in-country and regional workshops; participation and contribution to anti-corruption workshops and seminars; liaising with and cooperating with civil society organizations with shared objectives; expansion of national chapters in various countries through which the network effectively operates and serves as an avenue for best practices and knowledge sharing; and representing Africa within the Global Organization of Parliamentarians Against Corruption, GOPAC, among others. All these activities have largely contributed to positioning our various parliaments in Africa to effectively serve our people. In spite of all these achievements, the network, I understand, has been grappling with many challenges, significant of which is a lack of funding to undertake planned activities. Mr. President, Across the world, parliamentarians play a central role in the fight against corruption. As the primary lawmaking bodies, they enact laws that form the foundation of integrity systems, provide oversight of the executive, and represent the aspirations of citizens for good governance. It is therefore imperative that parliaments themselves remain models of transparency, diligence, and ethical conduct. However, we must also be candid about the growing public perception concerning absenteeism among parliamentarians and low participation in parliamentary proceedings, concerns that threaten to erode confidence in the legislature. While these challenges are not unique to Ghana, they call for a renewed commitment to institutional discipline and accountability. APNAC has a critical role to play in restoring and sustaining public trust and in reinforcing the integrity of parliaments across the continent. Another challenge worthy of reflection is the high turnover rate of parliamentarians in many African countries. While the choice of representatives rests with the electorate, frequent changes often leads to the loss of institutional memory and can affect the quality of parliamentary work. This calls for deliberate strategies to strengthen parliamentary systems and enhance the capacity of legislators to perform their duties effectively and ethically. So as we deliberate over the coming days, I urge APNAC to explore innovative ways to support parliaments across Africa, particularly Ghana's parliament, in upholding their constitutional mandate as custodians of accountability, transparency, and integrity. Let us build on the gains we have made under NACAP and related initiatives and forge stronger synergies among parliaments, anti-corruption agencies, civil society, and the citizens. After over 24 years in existence, it is imperative for APNAC to reposition itself in the inundating fight against corruption. This is essential to cement the network's relevance and effectiveness in the wake of current and emerging facets of corruption. Accordingly, I would also like to use this occasion to call on the APNAC to consider the following. Firstly, push for robust anti-corruption laws, including whistleblower protection, access to information, and campaign finance reforms that promote transparency in politics. Secondly, enhance inter-parliamentary collaboration. Corruption does not respect borders. There must therefore be increased information sharing and peer learning between the national chapters. Thirdly, leverage on technology to improve oversight. Advocacy for digital tools for asset declaration, e-procurement, and public expenditure tracking can close loopholes and empower citizens to hold leaders accountable. Lastly, empower citizens and civil society as allies, not adversaries. The fight against corruption cannot be waged in parliamentary chambers alone. It must reach communities, the youth, and the media spaces, ensuring that transparency becomes a culture and not a campaign. And as I conclude, allow me to commend APNAC for its continued leadership and partnership in promoting ethical governance. My commission remains a proud partner in this collective mission, among others, to build a continent where integrity is not the exception but the norm. I wish you all fruitful deliberations and a successful conference. I thank you.
Dr. Joseph Whittle, Commissioner, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Ghana. He dreams of a continent where integrity is the norm. Would also want to acknowledge, Right Honorable Speaker, representatives from the National Commission on Civic Education, representatives from the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, for the Institute of Democratic IDEC, Institute of Democratic and Economic Governance, and representatives of State Interest and Governance Authorities, SIGA, and also PEN Plus Spite. We thank you all for joining in the fight against corruption. Before we continue, we'll now take some cultural display. The group is called Ehimomo. It's a Ghanaian meaning it is good already. They are dance ensemble. They are located in the capital, Accra. And right now, they would give us the Kete dance from the Ashanti region, the Kete dance from the Ashanti region. Please, hey Himomo, please proceed. Another round of applause for the Ehememu Dance Ensemble from Accra, and they performed the Kete dance. We thank them very much for what they have done. We will now proceed to listen to the President of APNAC, the Right Honorable Louise Vla-Vonu, who is a two-term speaker. He's been speaker for 7 years. And not only speaker, he's also the vice president of the Global Platform for Parliamentarians Against Corruption. Right Honorable Speaker. Can we please acknowledge him? Mr. Speaker.
Monsieur le Président du Parlement du Ghana, chers amis et frères, qui sera là dans quelques instants, m'a-t-on dit. Chers collègues, membres du conseil d'administration de l'APNAC, honorables députés membres du réseau APNAC, représentants les diverses sections nationales à travers toute l'Afrique. Chers partenaires techniques et financiers, en vos rangs, grades et qualités. Monsieur le directeur exécutif de l'APNAC, Mesdames et Messieurs les membres du comité d'organisation des présentes assises. Mesdames et Messieurs, distingués invités, en vos rangs, grades et qualités. L'homme vaut plus par ce qu'il est que par ce qu'il a. C'est fort de cette vérité fondamentale tirée de l'encyclique du pape Jean-Paul II dans Familiaris Consortio que je voudrais bien humblement me permettre de reconnaître nos efforts de détachement et d'abnégation à poursuivre la lutte et de féliciter chacun de nous pour avoir de manière audacieuse et avec un profond sens de responsabilité dans l'édification du bien commun, effectuer le déplacement afin de vivre ces instants malgré le contexte socio-économique mondial délétère qu'il prévaut actuellement. C'est par ailleurs pour moi un véritable honneur de me tenir devant vous aujourd'hui à l'occasion d'un événement important de la vie de notre réseau. La rencontre biennale de toutes les sections nationales de par l'Afrique, ainsi que des partenaires d'ici et d'ailleurs, à l'effet de s'écouter et de tracer ensemble les voies du futur. Ce moment revêt une signification particulière parce que nous continuons, chacun à son niveau et avec les moyens dont il dispose, d'être déterminés pour combattre la fatalité de ce fléau qu'est la corruption. À l'entame de mon propos, je voudrais exprimer mes plus sincères remerciements à mon frère, le très honorable Alban Soumana Kingsford Bagmi, président du Parlement du Ghana, ainsi qu'à l'ensemble du Parlement et donc du peuple ghanéen pour avoir accepté de nous accueillir à Accra. Votre soutien et les moyens que vous avez mobilisés et mis à notre disposition ont été essentiels pour permettre la tenue de cette rencontre et nous vous en sommes profondément reconnaissants. Je tiens également à exprimer ma gratitude envers les membres de nos différentes sections nationales à travers tout le continent africain qui ont effectué le déplacement pour participer à cette Assemblée générale biennale. Votre présence ici témoigne de l'engagement et de la détermination qui animent notre lutte commune contre la corruption. Ces remerciements vont aussi à l'endroit des parlementaires et partenaires et de nos partenaires internationaux et locaux qui soutiennent les sections nationales ainsi qu'à toutes les personnes de bonne volonté qui se sont mobilisées pour cette cause. Quels effets le déplacement jusqu'ici ou qu'elles nous soutiennent d'une autre manière. Votre participation et votre accompagnement sont précieux et renforcent aussi bien le travail que nous accomplissons ensemble que nos ambitions pour un avenir prospère, plus juste dans la répartition des richesses et transparent dans la gestion des ressources diverses de l'Afrique. Mesdames et messieurs, chers participants, nous sommes encore réunis car le développement de notre cher continent nous est profondément cher. Permettez-moi d'emprunter une métaphore. Je cite, « Notre Afrique est une belle terre de promesses, dotée de toutes les qualités et ressources nécessaires pour s'épanouir et réussir, mais qui, paradoxalement, se retrouve parfois handicapée dans son développement et dans sa progression parce qu'elle regorge de richesses naturelles et talents, de culture et d'opportunités. Mais cette abondance tarde à se concrétiser dans la vie de la majorité de ses fils et filles qui se retrouvent souvent à emprunter des options et chemins menant à des destins tragiques. Chacun d'entre nous, ici présent, connaît les raisons profondes pour lesquelles notre continent, si fortuné de promesses et de perspectives, reste souvent privé de ce qui est essentiel à son véritable épanouissement. Vous le devinez, tout naturellement, c'est la corruption. Ce fléau tenace et dévastateur est au cœur de ce paradoxe. C'est cette même corruption déshumanisante qui ronge les bases mêmes de nos sociétés et de nos institutions. Elle est comme un monstre insidieux, que dis-je, une pieuvre qui mine les fondations de l'état de droit, déstabilise nos démocraties avec les crises de toutes sortes que nous connaissons. Elle érode lentement, durablement et de manière difficilement réversible la confiance des citoyens envers leurs dirigeants et leurs institutions. Je vais volontairement omettre les statistiques alarmantes pour ne pas nous décourager, ceux concernant les sommes détournées, car nous les connaissons tous. Et les chiffres eux-mêmes, bien que révélateurs, ne suffisent pas toujours à susciter l'action qu'ils appellent. Au lieu de cela, je nous invite à entreprendre un voyage, une projection dans un futur que nous pouvons bâtir ensemble. Imaginons donc un instant un continent où les opportunités ne sont pas un privilège, mais un droit accessible à chaque enfant, chaque jeune, chaque adulte, chaque femme, chaque homme et surtout les personnes vulnérables. Un continent où chaque naissance incarne l'espoir plutôt que le danger. Un continent où aucune femme ne perd sa vie en donnant la vie, car des infrastructures de santé modernes et de qualité sont accessibles à tous. Un continent où chaque mère, en donnant la vie, ne vit plus dans une crainte pour la sienne et les soins de santé ne sont plus un privilège, mais un droit garanti pour chacun, loin d'être réservé à une élite. qu'il ne soit plus dit pour une jeune femme qui accouche cette pensée qui dit « Rose, elle a vécu ce que vivent les roses l'espace d'un matin ». Imaginons un continent où aucun enfant ne reste à la maison, privé d'éducation, tout simplement parce que ses parents ne peuvent pas payer les frais de scolarité, ou pire encore, parce que l'école se trouve trop loin de leur domicile. Un continent où l'éducation est un droit véritablement accessible à tous, où chacun, enfant, quel que soit son milieu ou son lieu de vie, a la chance d'apprendre. Un continent où l'école est bien plus qu'un lieu d'enseignement, mais un refuge certain, stimulant et porteur d'opportunités diverses et d'espoir, qui offre à chacun, à chaque enfant, les moyens de rêver et de construire un avenir meilleur. Imaginons encore et encore bien d'autres scénarios de ce type, d'où est exclue la gangrène de la corruption, que ce soit dans les domaines de l'adduction d'eau ou la fourniture d'eau potable, de l'énergie électrique stable, des infrastructures communautaires de base et de première nécessité parmi bien d'autres. J'aurais bien voulu citer des exemples pour montrer que l'Afrique pouvait se suffire à elle-même. Mais pour ne pas stigmatiser des régions, j'aurais préféré me taire. Mais n'empêche, je dirais que le Congo, seul, avec son fleuve, pouvait fournir l'électricité à toute l'Afrique. Et pourquoi nous en manquons? Distingués invités, ce que je viens de décrire, bien que ce ne soit qu'un aperçu, n'a rien d'illusoire. Ce futur est non seulement possible, mais tout à fait réalisable. Chacun de nous, ici, présent, détient la clé de sa mise en œuvre effective, et plus particulièrement nous, parlementaires, qui, en vertu de nos différentes constitutions et mandats, avons la responsabilité de voter des lois porteuses de changement et de surveiller, contrôler l'action de l'exécutif afin de garantir le bien-être des populations que nous représentons et qui nous ont accordé leur confiance. Est-ce que pour contrôler l'action du gouvernement, nous avons besoin vraiment de joutes oratoires ou au sein de nos hémicycles respectifs, il faut se lever, attaquer, discuter et ensuite pour des résultats stériles? Ne pouvons-nous pas aller contrôler sur le terrain ce à quoi servent nos ratifications d'accords de crédit, les prêts, ce que ça fait? Est-ce que les prêts que nous ratifions à l'Assemblée nationale, est-ce que ces prêts servent vraiment ce à quoi il a été destiné ou ils ont été destinés? Est-ce que les prêts ne viennent pas chez nous par la main gauche et ressortent par la main droite pour aller à son envoyeur de façon que les projets deviennent des éléphants blancs? À nous de voir s'il ne faut pas changer de paradigme par rapport à nos joutes oratoires au sein de nos hémicycles pour des résultats véritablement stériles. Je reconnais que, bien souvent, nous avons failli dans notre mission de parlementaire. Toutefois, à l'instar de la Providence qui nous accorde chaque jour une nouvelle chance, nous devons nous aussi nous offrir cette même possibilité. Il est grand temps de rectifier les choses et de nous donner l'opportunité de corriger nos erreurs communes pour aller de l'avant. Nous sommes ici, aujourd'hui, avant tout, dans ce but précis, redresser la barre. À la dernière Assemblée générale biennale, nous étions à Cotonou, animés par la volonté de discuter, d'échanger et de réfléchir ensemble sur l'avenir de notre réseau en synergie avec d'autres forces agissantes de toute la société. Évidemment, la société civile. Nous avons alors l'objectif de le redynamiser, de le repositionner et de créer des synergies constructives dans le but de renforcer notre impact collectif. Nous avons réussi à surmonter certains défis, mais force est de constater qu'il nous reste encore beaucoup à accomplir et des obstacles à franchir, des attentes à satisfaire et des objectifs à atteindre. Ce travail de redressement et de réajustement nécessite non seulement de la volonté, mais aussi une action collective audacieuse et forte. Nous, parlementaires, détenons une clé essentielle dans la lutte contre la corruption. Et c'est en pleine conscience cette responsabilité que nos pères fondateurs, réunis il y a 26 ans à Kampala, ont décidé de créer notre réseau APNAC. Notre vision était assez claire. Il s'agissait de bâtir une plateforme de collaboration, d'échange et de solidarité entre les législateurs du continent. Ils ont compris qu'en unissant nos forces, en partageant nos expériences et nos connaissances, nous serions mieux équipés pour faire face à un défi aussi complexe et profondément enraciné que constitue la corruption. Il y a une sagesse qui dit, si tu veux aller vite, va seul. Mais si tu veux aller loin, va ensemble. Cette maxime trouve tout son sens dans la démarche de nos pères fondateurs. Et pour que nos efforts contre la corruption portent véritablement leurs fruits, nous devons agir ensemble, comme une seule entité, guidée par un but commun. Nous avons la capacité de faire changer les choses, de faire bouger les lignes dans le bon sens. Mais cela nécessitera une collaboration étroite et une détermination collective. Mesdames et messieurs, nous nous trouvons à un moment crucial, à un tournant décisif, et je souhaite nous inviter à réaffirmer avec force notre engagement envers les principes fondamentaux de transparence, de redevabilité, de leadership et d'éthique. Il est temps de renouveler notre détermination à œuvrer sans relâche pour éradiquer la corruption sur notre continent, afin que l'Afrique puisse enfin s'épanouir sur des bases solides, saines et pérennes, tout en faisant de notre réseau une organisation qui serve de modèle d'inspiration sur le continent et ailleurs. Je voudrais conclure mon propos en nous souhaitant de fructueuses délibérations qui feront de notre réseau un modèle de réussite, un catalyseur de bonnes pratiques et un véritable moteur d'innovation et de changement dans la lutte contre la corruption. Vive l'Afrique, vive l'APNAC. Merci pour votre aimable attention.
Thank you very much, President of APNAC, Right Honorable Louis Vlavonu, Speaker of the National Assembly of Benin. Long live Africa, long live APNAC. Thank you very much. Right Honorable. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, while President of APNAC, the Speaker of the National Assembly of Benin, was speaking, we're joined at the high table by the Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbing, Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana. Right Honorable Speaker, you are welcome. During that same time, we were also joined by a former president of APNAC Africa, a former vice president of the Global Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption, the Honorable Osei Che Mensah Bonso. Before we receive the keynote address by the Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbing, we'll take a short cultural performance by the Ehemomo Cultural Troupe. They'll be performing this time the Jara dance, which is supposed to be a war dance from the northern part of our country. They are unsure which part of the north, but this is the northern part of the country. Please proceed, Ehemomo, for Jara. gentlemen, the Ehimumu Cultural Ensemble from the Greater Accra region of the Republic, giving us the Jara dance. And it is a war dance, and perhaps when all the energies has been exerted in dancing, the enemy will flee, knowing the strength the men carry in dancing. We thank them very much, Ehimumu Cultural Dance Ensemble, Greater Accra region, for their good performance. And for those of you who do not know, and for our guests in Ghana, it is customary when the cultural performance is being well displayed, you give money. And I see our honorable member from Kenya knows the custom well, and he delivered accordingly. Thank you very much, honorable member from Kenya, for supporting and our customary acknowledgement of the good performance, which the high table had also earlier on acknowledged. Thank you very much. We'll now take our keynote address. Our keynote address will be delivered by a person who is second-term Speaker of our Parliament in Ghana here. He's currently the chairman of the 52-member African Geopolitical Group of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, IPU. He's also chairman, second-term chairman of the Conference of Speakers and Presidents of African Legislatures, COSPAL, and currently also the member of the IPU delegation for mediation and peace building in Ukraine and Russia. There are several more things I could say, but would end here. And with the greatest of respect, I invite all of us to rise as we welcome the Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbing, Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana, to deliver the keynote address at this General Meeting of APNAC. Mr. Speaker.
Please, you may resume your seats. Thank you so much, Lawyer Nanatawia Ochre. I want to plead with all of you to give a standing ovation to our current president of APNAC for the speech he just delivered. It was an excellent speech. He is my senior brother, and always a senior brother. I thank all of you. And I hope at the end of this conference, we will go back home to dance like what we just witnessed. That dance actually is after a conquest, at a war. The warriors come home, now welcomed by the ladies, and then they display their prowess. And you see how they display the prowess? I'm sure the women among you understand it better than you. They are coming home to do another one, another conquest. And so you can see the women behind them actually showing the joy of their return. Let me thank all of you for finding time to come to our hospitable country to let us together see how we could fight. In fact, in our constitution, we use the word combat, because it's a war. Combat corruption. But I also like the word eradicate, which is not only used in terms of corruption, but also in terms of poverty. And I learned it more in Zimbabwe. With your kind permission, I'll adopt the already established protocol. Appreciate your presence here. And more importantly, acknowledge the contribution of one of my very good friends, the former member of parliament of Swami, was a majority leader. He's just been mentioned as the former president of APNAC and the vice president of GOPAC, Honorable Oseche Mensah Bonsu. We've been together for many, many years in this fight, trying to, as much as possible, not eradicate, but at least contain corruption. It was very, very difficult to eradicate corruption. And in fact, he ably supported me at the Parliament of Canada in Ottawa to move a motion to resolve a stalemate between the countries from the West and the East in the establishment of the Global Organization of Parliamentarians Against Corruption. Honorable, I applaud your efforts. I will try to give another perspective of the journey to, as much as possible, eliminate corruption in our body politics. As I said, my senior brother, the Speaker of the Parliament of the Republic of Benin, has done justice to the topic. But in giving my perspective, I may also draw attention to some of the initiatives that we have made in Ghana here, and I want to learn from you so that we could all work in tandem in our fight to eliminate corruption in our societies. But before I do that, allow me to express my appreciation to the African Parliamentarians Network Against Corruption, APNAC for short, from across Africa for the invitation to address this August gathering at the opening of the 9th Biennial General Meeting of APNAC here in Accra. May I join earlier speakers to extend to you a heartfelt welcome to Accra. In our local parlance, particularly in Accra here, the Gans, they say, Obake. My Gan is wrong, you know. Obake. Even though some told me that they would prefer Atu. Owa, Atu. And in the Akan language, they say Akwaba, which many of you understand. And we are always happy when we hear our friends in South Africa say Asante Sana. Then also in the Volta region, they say Wezo. And sometimes add Wezolo. And up the north, they have many, but more importantly, there's one they say Marhaba. And some say Marhaba. My local language, we say Yewa Yane. So you can see the diversity. Very difficult. And I want to see, as my brother has just said, how we can imagine and image and re-image Africa for us to use our traditional languages and not foreign languages to communicate. But let me assure you that the Parliament of Ghana is ready to roll out the red carpet of welcome to you all, and we want your presence here to be as enjoyable as possible. So, honorable men and women, our colleagues from around the continent, and particularly our important partners and stakeholders in this fight, we'll do all we can to ensure that at the end of the day, we will refuse to surrender the continent's destiny to corruption. This is a stand I wholeheartedly commit myself to. Honorable participants, I view my invitation to this August gathering an opportunity as Speaker of the 8th and 9th Parliaments of the 4th Republic of Ghana and a foundation member of APNAC to frontally address a very topical and well-captioned theme of the meeting: repositioning APNAC in the fight against corruption, overcoming current and emerging challenges. What is this animal called corruption? Your Excellencies, corruption is a chameleon. It's nebulous, multifaceted, and ever-changing its colors. It is no more like it used to be in the 1990s when APNAC was formed. My brother also acknowledged that. Today, corruption has the proclivity to mimic scientific innovations and information technology. It is linked to other forms of crime. In particular, corruption is in league with organized crime, money laundering, drug trade, human trafficking, wildlife crimes, extractives, and sextortion. I repeat the word sextortion. They corrupt, adapt, and mutate. They corrupt, innovate, and create. Corruption is a complex sphinx, a mirage of sophisticated networks that stretch across borders. It is cancerous. It is systemic. It is monstrous. And it is cataclysmic. Participants, Africa today stands at a defining moment, a critical juncture. There is an explosion of corruption as a result of monetization of politics and loss of societal values. For instance, in Africa, a single candidate can spend as high as $100 million campaigning to be a president. Or in our case, as members of parliament, $500,000 just to win a parliamentary seat. Where does one get such colossal amounts from? And on assuming the presidency or entering parliament, how does one recoup such lavish investment? No wonder the billions of dollars are siphoned through illicit financial flows into foreign banks. That is the safe havens which fuel corruption in Africa. And that's why sometimes I question Transparency International when they are pointing fingers at African countries and not the others who receive the money. Because we all know corruption involves two parties or more. And so if they are being saved at your home, you are as corrupt as the person bringing the money to you. Sad to say, the new kid on the corruption block is cybercrime. Digital systems meant to improve governance can be hijacked by cyber criminals. According to Ghana's Cybersecurity Authority, Ghana lost 23.3 million Ghana cedis in 2024. and 14.9 million Ghana cedis in the first half of 2025 to this sophisticated form of crime. Integration and trade, while beneficial, also create transnational networks of corruption and illicit financial flows out of Africa in millions of dollars. The report of the high-level panel on illicit financial flows from Africa, that is the Mbeki report, estimates that Africa is losing more than $50 billion in illicit financial flows. As monies are stolen and stashed away in foreign banks, women wallow in drudgery. Children learn under trees, and the poor live short and brutish lives. Corruption is the reason why a pregnant woman, a poor man with a simple snake bite in a rural village may walk several kilometers to a clinic, only to find that there is no midwife, no medicines. Corruption explains why a brilliant child sits at home because his school has no teachers, no books, no desks. Corruption also explains why faith in our institutions, be they political, traditional, or religious, is waning. Thanks to corruption, our trust in leadership and democracy in general dwindled in an all-time low, is now salvaged. I hope and pray it will be salvaged. Many citizens see leadership as a marketplace for personal gain, not service. The ordinary African sees his leaders engage in state capture, a situation where powerful interests dominate and bend the institutions of government to serve themselves, their families, friends, and cronies instead of the people. No wonder that the youth of some African countries, I pray is some, are welcoming with open arms and cheerful adulation the return of the military to take over the reins of governance. No wonder the Gen Zs are on the warpath and presidents are on the run. What is the role of Parliament? How could we together assault this canker and be able to dominate it? Honorable members, an African proverb teaches us that, and I quote, when the drum beat changes, the dance must also change. And we just saw it happen here. Therefore, we cannot continue the same Azonto dance. The Azonto dance style has to give way if we wish to relegate corruption to the backwaters of history. We have seen a surge in the establishment of anti-corruption commissions and other institutions, all for the purpose of addressing corruption in the world through prevention, public or community education, law enforcement, and the application of appropriate sanctions. Much as these institutions are taking the fight to corruption, it remains undaunted, unscathed, and impregnable. Therefore, the people's representative organ of government, that is, we, the actors, must rearm ourselves and launch a more ferocious assault on this avowed foe of development. Your Excellencies, as was rightly observed by the Global Organization of Corruption Against of Parliamentarians Against Corruption, GOPAC, in the statement submitted to the 10th session of the Conference of State Parties to the United Nations Against Corruption, that is COPS 10, the fight against corruption is not just the government domain. A whole of society approach, including parliaments, both at the national and international levels, is needed to provide a solid anti-corruption regime. In fact, we used to say anti-corruption. These days, I hear them say anti-corruption. All state actors, including parliaments and other international communities, must work hand in hand to address corruption in all its forms. Similarly, state parties to the United Nations Convention Against Corruption in Resolution 814 urge countries to recognize the important role of parliaments and other legislative bodies in strengthening the implementation of ANCAC with a view to effectively preventing and combating corruption in all its forms and preventing money laundering related to corruption by, inter alia, promoting transparency and accountability in the management of public finances, exercising budget oversight, criminalizing corruption offenses, and facilitating the asset recovery process. So, my brothers and sisters, where the money is usually stashed, please, when it's found, could you kindly repatriate it to where it came from? I will not say more again. On the role of parliaments in the effective implementation of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, ANCAC, in particular, GOPAC, in a statement at COP 10, provides in particular the following guide, and I want to quote it. It says, unquote, Parliament is not only an institution involved in the passage of bills and ratifications of conventions, it is also vital in driving changes aimed to support the effective implementation of the convention through its policies and roles in policy and budget setting, as well as oversight, and towards a stronger public engagement to the issue. Particularly in practice, the Parliament's role in the state's international obligation is often overlooked. And I'm happy our speaker from Benin emphasized it. Parliament is only needed when there is a need to ratify or pass laws relevant to the convention. Its oversight role for the convention's implementation is underutilized, since the parliamentarians has less exposure to the United Nations Convention Against Corruption provisions and its review mechanisms. Most of the time, it's the executive, a counterpart of the legislature, that significantly dominates the parliament in these matters. What is our role as members of APNAC in this fight? Honorable members, APNAC was born out of the recognition that corruption is too cancerous, entrenched, and systemic, and transnational for one country, or one institution, or one leader to fight it alone. APNAC was viewed as a tool for strengthening Parliament's contribution to the fight against corruption. And the earlier speaker stressed the important role, which was just for us to work together. But we have to go beyond that. Since its founding in 1999, APNAC has been a rallying point for African parliamentarians who believe in integrity, accountability, and justice. From Kampala, Nairobi, through N'Djamena, Accra, and Cotonou, between 2009 and 2022, APNAC has amplified the voice of Africa's parliaments in the struggle against corruption. Through its annual general meetings, APNAC has examined ways to enhance the oversight functions of parliaments to address corruption in Africa, discuss the role of the parliamentarian in the fight against corruption, and in achieving the sustainable development goals in Africa, consider the strategies that Parliament and parliamentarians may employ to assist in the fight against corruption on the African continent, among others. The challenges confronting us in the struggle against corruption in Africa are daunting, but certainly not insurmountable. We need to reposition APNAC in the light of this hydra-headed monster. But what does it mean to reposition APNAC? In my view, to reposition APNAC means nothing less than reimagining its mission and reimaging that mission for a new era where APNAC is a stronger, louder, bolder, more visible, more effective, and more united force against corruption. APNAC must become a network that adapts, mutates, creates, and spreads across borders. Repositioning APNAC also means building stronger national chapters as active watchdogs within our parliaments and leveraging the potential that technology offers in order to uncover and address corruption more effectively and transparently. We can only do this when we partner the other very effective tools like the media. Finally, it entails mobilizing resources, and as I stated, partnerships, and strengthening interparliamentary solidarity for confronting cross-border corruption. Above all, repositioning APNAC should include restoring or sustaining trust between citizens and their parliaments, as well as trust between Africa and its leaders. After all, without public trust, democracy itself cannot stand. APNAC must position itself ahead of corruption to prevent corruption rather than cure it. We all experience what goes on between our borders. We have, as parliaments, to work on it together. We know how parties are managed and administered. And as I alluded to earlier on, how much we use in order to be elected to serve the people. After you've offered yourself to serve, then you are called upon to mobilize all the resources and to, in serving, rather seem to be buying the votes. And so we have to look at how we are able to fund politics, how we administer and manage parties, and how we finance campaigns. What is it that we have done here in Ghana to abhor corruption? Honorable members, I'm proud to inform you that the Parliament of Ghana has responded to the challenge thrown to parliaments to, beyond the ratification of treaties, agreements, and protocols, and passage of legislation, play a more active role to combat corruption. It is worth mentioning just a few of the initiatives of Ghana's parliament aimed at fighting corruption. 1. Ghana's parliament has established a number of committees of parliament apart from the sectoral committees. Specific committees, some exist in your parliaments too, to lead it in the fight against corruption in the country. These committees, as you all know, include Public Accounts Committee, Committee on Assurances. Now, we don't say government assurances. We say assurances, which includes assurances made by members of parliament. We have established Human Rights Committee. So members, when you go to your constituency to make assurances there, we take note and we'll ask you questions on the floor. We have the Finance Committee. We have the Budget Committee. We have the Security and Intelligence Committee. We have the Independent Constitutional Bodies Committee. And we have the Public Administration and State Interest Committee and Petitions Committee, which makes it easier for the citizenry to access Parliament. These committees serve as critical governance structures to enable Parliament to exercise its advocacy, scrutiny, and oversight functions more effectively. More importantly, we have, as part of our strategic action plan, doing all we can to decentralize Parliament so that they don't only hear our voice, but they also see and feel us. The other arms of government, the executive, is so decentralized to the ordinary citizens in the villages. So you have departments and others working there. The judiciary is so decentralized in Ghana to the level of magistrate courts. So every day, the people have access to this when they have grievances. Parliament is only seen and heard of at the center. And all what we're doing to be known and people to see our relevance, we are still not making serious impact. And there's an urgent call for us to decentralize to the unit level so that on daily basis, the people realize the dividends of their struggle to elect you to Parliament. And so that is one of the things that we cut out to do for ourselves, to decentralize Parliament to the regions, to the constituencies, to the electoral areas, so that on daily basis, we can work together with them for them to see what we do, how we do it, and why we do what we do, and the benefits that they enjoy on daily basis, which many of them cannot see or feel. And that is why when you go to your constituency, they ask you, MP, we elected you, what have you done for us? Because people have not been able to break it down from this, our big brofo, into the local languages for them to understand and appreciate what you do on a daily basis. The Parliament of Ghana, second point, has also strengthened parliamentary ethics and internal accountability structures with the establishment of the Ethics and Standards Committee of Parliament and the Office of the Commissioner of Standards, which by definition should be having the qualification of a Court of Appeal judge, no below Court of Appeal judge. And then also the adoption of a code of conduct for members of Parliament. 3, having realized the potential dangers of corruption to the dignity of Parliament, Ghana's Parliament has set up a risk assessment department, introduced corruption risk management process in Parliament, and developed a corruption risk management plan which is being implemented. 4, besides the Parliament of Ghana has established the Citizens Bureau to provide a reliable and easy bridge between the people and Parliament, to coordinate information exchange between Parliament and civil society, and to facilitate access to information in Parliament and Parliament itself. The Citizens Bureau also collates views of citizens on matters of public policy and interests. 5, through the Petitions Committee, citizens are empowered to submit petitions on matters of public interest to Parliament through a member of Parliament for redress. This is referred to the committee, and the committee will investigate, inquire into the matter, report to the House, and the House will then go into the matter. It helps a lot in dispute resolution without people resorting always to the courts. 6, Ghana's Parliament has also created the Anti-Corruption Department under the Legal and Governance Services Division to, among others, invigorate Parliament's capacity to generally monitor efforts to address corruption in the country. This department also participates in, monitors and reviews the implementation of Ghana's obligations under international instruments on anti-corruption and enhances integrity within Parliament and the parliamentary service generally. 7, Ghana's Parliament participated in the development, approval, and implementation of the country's National Anti-Corruption Action Plan 2015 to 2024 and is participating in the development of the next anti-corruption strategy for the country. 7, the Parliament of Ghana is currently facilitating the establishment of the National Integrity Awards Scheme to reward men and women of integrity while pouring shame and scorn on the dishonest in what is termed naming and shaming the corrupt. This was a proposal in the NACAP, National Anti-Corruption Action Plan 2015 to 2024. It was not done by the executive. Taking our role as overseeing all what they do, we decided to lead it. And we are doing that together with all the key accountability institutions, our traditional leaders, our religious leaders, and our partners, not only in Ghana, but also abroad. And finally, our Parliament is participating in sessions of the corps and its subsidiary bodies and is putting itself in readiness for the review of the implementation of the ANCAC in the next phase of the implementation review mechanism, which we hope will be launched at COPS 11 just next month, December 2025. We have decided to not only allow the executive to submit reports on even human rights reviews. We do our own, and we go with the delegation. In fact, anytime I get space, I try to lead the country delegation, which by convention, by practice and statute, is to be led by the Attorney General and Minister for Justice. But we don't leave that rule only to the government, particularly the executive, because they can go and whitewash the records of the country. And so, as the true representatives of the people, not of the state, not of the country, want to play this role, and we have succeeded in getting the Interparliamentary Union to adopt that as a new approach. And they are trying to get other parliaments to do the same, so that you go and you are there to see whether what your executive is saying is really reflective of what is on the ground in your country. Conclusion. Your Excellencies, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, the Ninth Biennial General Meeting of APNAC is not just another meeting. It is a turning point. If we rise to this moment, we can reposition APNAC as a true vanguard of Africa's integrity movement. The voters elected us to represent all Africans and the continent Africa. If we fail, corruption will write the death tribute to Africa's democracy. And as we all know, the best way to control the future is to create it. I trust that this generation of African parliamentarians has the courage to confront corruption head on, to inspire the trust of our people, and to light the path of integrity for generations to come. On that note, I wish participants fruitful deliberations. For those of you who are in Accra for the first time, I encourage you to find time to exploit the great Ghanaian hospitality. Listen to the rhythms and the sounds of the city. Sample the delicious delicacies of our restaurants and feel the pulse of our nation through the pulsating breath of our women. In fact, just a few days ago, I was reminded on the floor of Parliament that the first restaurant for all of us is the breast. Which restaurant you have glued to from birth to death. I thank you all for your presence and attention.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker of the Parliament of Ghana, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbing, who has reminded us to make sure we sample Accra. Thank you. May kindly take our seats. Well, I was summarizing it by just saying Mr. Speaker says we should sample Accra. I remember from Kenya says that we should sample the breast. Honorable members, we thank you very much, and we know that time is fast spent for this opening ceremony. We are grateful to the members of APNAC, to our collaborators in Ghana, to all distinguished guests who have made it a point to be present for this event. We are going to take some photographs before we quickly take some snack and do the first item. We are running late, but we'll still try and abridge time. Yes. Apologies, Mr. Speaker and Right Honorable also Speaker from Benin. I'd like to call on the Member of Parliament from Kenya, who is also the APNAC President for Kenya. I am made to understand that there's a customary presentation he does at most general meetings. So, Honorable Shakil, if you could please come and make the presentation on behalf of the APNAC group to Right Honorable Speaker of Ghana and of Benin.
Honorable Speaker, sir, and the past president or the current president of APNAC, who will hopefully, I am told, is stepping down, the Speaker of Benin. We have heard and we have learned. I think the speeches of the two distinguished gentlemen has brought to the head and to our vision the renewed desire to reposition APNAC. Honorable Speaker, sir, and I stand on protocol. Honorable Speakers, sir, Sirs, I stand on protocol and wish to acknowledge the participation that has taken place here. As the chairman of APNAC Kenya and on the member of the board of GOPAC, we have seen the sort of leadership that has been provided towards the fight against corruption. On behalf of all the chapters, not only Kenya, Kenya, we are proud to say, is probably one of the most active chapters, and we hope that we'll be able to share our development and our ways forward with others. Honourable Speaker, sir, you said one thing, and I must say, I must come to your support. Whistleblowers must be supported. Honourable Speaker, sir, in Doha, I am representing the Kenya delegation as well as part of GOPAC. We shall be presenting, sir, on behalf of APNAC Africa, an application called Shahidi, which is an anonymous application that has been developed by the Gen Z in Kenya, whereby you can report any aspect of corruption and there will be some sort of follow-up and reward. So I have been honored to present that to ANCAC. And Mr. Speaker, sir, you have also said that we have taken, and you have taken great steps, not both in OEC, both in IPU and with ANCAC. Honourable Speaker, sir, as a result of all the work that APNAC and GOPAC has done, we have observer status in ANCAC, United Nations. We have observer status. We do not need to go through the country or the member state. And that is one thing, Honourable Speaker, sir, I would plead with you and the other speakers to allow your members and to give them support financially to go and put our part in the fight against corruption. Honourable Speakers, sir, I approach both of you and other speakers. The reason you are the chairman and the president of APNAC is so that we are showing a united front. And as the Speaker of the Parliament, it is your duty, your responsibility, and we hope your first priority to support your parliamentarians in the fight against corruption. Speaker says it is not an easy job. It is not. We have 40 members in APNAC Kenya. Only 5 or 6 are active. But that doesn't mean that we have given up. So, Honourable Speaker, sir, I will stop here now. I have the honor and privilege on behalf of all the chapters of APNAC Africa to present you with the APNAC Lions Award Against Corruption. And unfortunately, Honourable Speaker, we had no time to get printing done properly, but I'm sure Fabrice will help us. We tried yesterday. We were little short, so we put it a little piece of paper. But do not please feel that that is demotion of this particular award. I have presented this award to presidents. I've presented this award to others on behalf of APNAC, and I always said APNAC. We are together. We're APNAC Africa. We're Africans. And one thing we must say, there is no word for corruption in African languages. So we must try and tell that to the Western world who keep telling us about the corruption that we have. We do not have corruption, not the way. We have our own levels and we need to fight them. Thank you, Mr. Honourable Speaker, sir. May I now have the honor, may I now have the honor, sir, of giving the first award to the Speaker the outgoing president of APNAC, but still it is a great honor on behalf of APNAC to present to you this Lion Against Corruption Award. May I do that?
So you go straight. You go and do it in front.
I come back?
Yes, yes.
I'm advised to come here. How do you take picture? You decide. No, come down. You take picture. Okay, so start. Your Excellency. Or do I come over there? Yes. Yes, sir. This is the award. I have the honor of asking the Speaker of Ghana to kindly accept this award on our behalf and appreciation, and in anticipation of great cooperation.
We want to thank very much Honorable Shaki, the Member of Parliament from the Republic of Kenya and the President of APNAC Kenya. We'll now quickly take our pictures. We'll quickly take our pictures. We'll quickly take our pictures. I would respectfully invite the members of the high table to please come down. They'll take the first picture. Then I would invite members of APNAC present to come. We are requesting the Honorable Oseiche Mensah-Bonsu to join the pictures, please. Mr. Speaker, so give it to Justin. Please, all members of APNAC, please join. All members of APNAC, please join. Push the table back. 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 All members of APNAC, please join. We will probably would have to make this look slightly better than it does. Respectfully, we would request that some of you join. Go up the stage, please. Yes, those who are tall, yes. Yes.
Climate.
No, to climb. Please, do we have all captured? Mumuni, you are done? Thank you very much. Members of the high table, if you could stay. The rest of the other members, please take your seats. Members of the high table, kindly stay. The rest, please take your seats. I'll now call all our invited guests to join us to take the picture. All our invited guests, please come. All our invited guests, please join us, take the picture. Yes, all our invited guests. When you finish, I'll go do them alone. All our invited guests, please join. Aren't you invited guests? Aren't you invited guests? All our invited guests, please join. From all our guests, I acknowledged you earlier. Please join. From civil society, from the parliamentary service who are present, who are seated, despite they being invited guests. Please, some of you should go up the platform. Thank you very much. You can all take your seats. Members on the high table, we didn't get your single shot, so we'll just take yours now. All others, please take your seats. We'll just do the members on the high table. Secretary General, please join this picture quickly. Fabrice, please quickly join this picture. There's been a caveat, the lack of gender representation. So what? Yes. So they open both sides. So I'll shut them now. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, we will now take a short break and have a short coffee break. A short coffee break. The ushers would usher us to where we are having our coffee break. We thank you all. Cocoa break. Cocoa break. Cocoa break. We are in the land of cocoa. Cocoa break. Please, ushers, Charlie, move. Please, we are all invited to step behind the curtains and let's have our cocoa break. We'll just have it for a few minutes and we'll come back and have our inaugural presentation, which will be delivered by the Honorable Osei Mensah Bonsu on strengthening parliamentary oversight and accountability. We'll have it in the same place. Please, we'll have the cocoa break now. After Honorable Osei Mensah Bonsu's presentation, then we'll have lunch. Ushers, kindly direct everyone to come and have joined the cocoa break, please. Ushers, please.